Welcome to 12 News in Focus. Every week we take a look back at some of the great stories brought to you from our 12 News journalists. On today's show, a single mother's journey of recovery after receiving 2 double lung transplants, and how a music program allows students with disabilities to learn side by side with their peers. But first, a dedicated teacher in Surprise is honored for changing lives.
Hello, boys and girls, and Dr. Casillas.
A moment of recognition for Dr. Efrain Casillas, a teacher whose work goes far beyond the classroom.
I am honored to present to you the Country Music Award Foundation Teacher of Excellence Award for 2026. And this is for you.
A national honor.
Congratulations.
I needed this.
That celebrates educators who are changing lives through music.
He is such an amazing individual who not only gives to the community with his talent and skills, but he's just an amazing mentor and a caring adult for every child in his classroom. He makes a difference every day.
An educator for 26 years, Casillas has spent 18 of them with the Tolleson Elementary School District. One of his biggest accomplishments,
I decided to start learning how to play mariachi so I could teach my students.
creating an award-winning mariachi program.
1, 2, 3. Because it was a connection from the culture of my students.
Watch them play, his impact is easy to see.
He teaches them that if you want to do something and you want to really become the very best that you can be, that you have to put in work and that you have to be dedicated. And he believes that every child is capable.
So when District Superintendent Giselle Herrera found out a few weeks ago he was chosen as this year's recipient,
No one knew. He didn't know.
she knew the reveal would be something special.
Well, it was unbelievable. I really didn't think I was going to win this award. It's just been a really tough year this year, and to win this, it means a lot to me personally.
For Casillas, the award is an honor, but the real prize
They're my inspiration to keep going.
are his students, because they make every lesson worth it
They exceed every expectation I had this year.
and inspire him to keep his purpose in tune every day. Jay Cunningham, 12 News.
In Arizona, extreme heat is part of life, but leaders at ASU and in Congress say it's becoming one of the biggest threats facing the state.
It is a threat to our power grids, our water supply, our transportation systems, and most urgently, to human life.
On Friday, Representatives Greg Stanton and Yasemin Ansari announced a $2.6 million federal investment to create ASU's Center for Heat Preparedness, the first center of its kind in the nation. The goal? Help communities prepare for extreme heat before it turns deadly.
This center will develop predictive models and anticipate extreme heat events before they become emergencies.
The center will study how heat impacts everything from power grids to transportation to public health. Researchers will also work with city leaders and first responders to create practical solutions like improving cooling centers, expanding shade at bus stops, and helping utilities prepare for extreme demand.
We'll improve guidance for cooling centers. We'll help shape legal protections for people at the highest risk for health-related health issues. We will establish policies to ensure we're getting resources to the right places and people at the right time.
That announcement comes as Maricopa County continues to see record heat deaths.
In 2024 alone, Maricopa County recorded over 600 heat-related deaths. When someone dies from extreme heat, whether they're an outdoor worker or sitting in their own home, our system has failed them.
ASU says this isn't just about research papers or long-term planning. The university already has nearly 170 researchers working on heat solutions, including new street materials designed to keep neighborhoods cooler.
Heat really affects us where we live, where we work, where we play, where we move throughout our city, and our pocketbooks and our health. And so this is helping us really translate our research to have an impact on our lives.
In Phoenix, Kyle Simchuk, 12 News.
For Terry Raymond, her 2 boys are her world.
My children are, I just am so grateful. I have seen them grow up. My one son just got married in March, and that was magical.
A moment she never thought she'd live to see.
I never thought a life like this was possible. Yeah, I didn't think, I thought they were going to be little when I was going to die.
In the early 90s, the single mom experienced shortness of breath that progressively got worse. In 2005, she was diagnosed with severe emphysema, a progressive lung disease that ultimately required Raymond to get a double lung transplant to stay alive.
You would think that that was really scary. To me, it wasn't. To me, it was hope.
But 1 year after surgery, her body rejected the lungs.
I wasn't sure I was going to make it once again, but I did. I passed the evaluations and I was able to get another transplant that November.
A second double lung transplant, which Dr. Sophia Tokman says can be more complex than the first go-around.
Only 3 to 5% of transplants done per year are redo lung transplants. Lung transplant is certainly transformative and life-saving. That's why I do what I do, and that's why I'm so passionate about it. And people get, an improved quality of life. They get years of their life back. They get years of independence. But it is a different kind of life. Lung transplant isn't a cure.
Luckily for Raymond, she has since thrived since surgery.
She is incredible. She has really dedicated herself to being a good steward of her organs. She's dedicated herself to doing the best she can with the life she has. And I think that she's a gift.
It's now been almost 16 years since her second set of lungs gave her a third chance at life.
I've been able to hike the Grand Canyon. I've backpacked rim to rim to rim. Done some amazing things that I never thought I would do.
Or moments she thought she'd see, which is why, as she reflects on this Mother's Day,
please become an organ donor. It's the biggest gift that you can give to another person.
She's reminded how every breath is a blessing and how precious each day with family can be. Jay Cunningham, 12 News.
Coming up, how citizens of Page, Arizona are fighting against a data center.
You can feel the energy of this community that they care.
A community nestled in the West Valley that's going through a transformation.
Litchfield Park is a very special community.
Stacy Pingree moved her business here and now calls it home. We're meeting at Litchfield Square, a new central gathering spot meant to bring in new life and energy off Litchfield Road north of Indian School.
This was all a dirt lot when we got here, and it's really, the city's done an amazing job developing, an anchor, which is a park.
The park and surrounding area have been years in the making, something Litchfield Park Mayor Thomas Schoaf is happy to see take shape.
It was kind of the dream of the people that were involved in the original incorporation that someday this could be our downtown.
The downtown will feature 26 acres of mixed-use development. Some parcels are already sold and under construction. Others are still open. But with a town as historic as Litchfield Park, with iconic landmarks like the church and the Wigwam Resort, keeping that small-town history alive and seen is important.
So the look of the project had to be approved ahead of time before we sold the land. That look had to be consistent with several of the iconic buildings that we have here.
But not everyone wants to see Litchfield Park change, and to that, Pingree says this is about looking to the future while honoring its past.
As a new generation comes up, I think it's, we can't be afraid of that. We have younger families with younger kids, and what they want to build might look a little bit different than what's been here, but I think we preserve, the heart and the core of what Litchfield's all about.
For students with disabilities, they get to interact with their peers on a level playing field. For band students, they learn to look beyond differences and see how easy it can be to get in sync with others. Listen in. Strum by strum. You're not just hearing a guitar lesson, it's the soundtrack of connection. We're good? Okay. 3, 2. At McClintock and Marcos Deniza High Schools, students aren't just learning side by side, they're finding a shared rhythm through a program called United Sound.
It's not really about the music, but that is such an effective bridge to put between kids. It eliminates any awkwardness.
Students with special needs, new musicians, as they're called here, paired with a team of band students, mentors, all learning guitar together. Lessons turn abstract music concepts.
For us, rhythms are foods, and then pitch is color.
into something anyone can understand.
Abstract concepts and making them into something concrete is the fastest way to take the hard things about music and making them easy.
Everyone learning to read and play music. But the real lesson goes far beyond the notes.
Have a sense of community and a sense of belonging, and any of their differences are completely gone because they all come together through music.
For band director Amanda Lenhart, this program is personal. She was once a peer mentor herself.
Now we've got it going here, which is cool because there's now a full circle moment where I'm not the mentor anymore, but now my students are.
She says week by week, students are building more than skills.
What they don't realize is that this is like a lifelong friendship that they've created and an alliance to be, a friend and just someone that really understands that friendship can be taught through anything, not just music.
Programs like this don't happen without support.
It just means the world to see the smiles on their faces, the things that they get to try that they haven't tried before. Their confidence gives you hope for the future.
With help from the Tempe Diablos, the program is now part of these campuses and here to stay, just like any good song. Shared music, shared moments, shared memories. And of course, you can't teach these kids a new song without giving them a stage to perform it on. So the new musicians and mentors will have a little performance at the end of the term here for their families and their teachers. Just a chance to celebrate their progress. That's your Education Impact. I'm Nohe Graf, 12 News.
Here south of Page, the proposed data center is close to a national treasure. This is 500 acres of land purchased by the developer behind me. It sits about 1.5 miles to 2 miles to the east of the edge of the Grand Canyon and the picturesque Horseshoe Bend.
The sacred land, culture, and antiquities have been altered enough already.
There are lots of reasons the people of Page don't want it.
It's common people against multi-billion-dollar companies.
A behemoth data center near a natural wonder of the world draws obvious criticism, along with questions about noise, light pollution, energy, and water use.
If it's going to use a lot of water, then I think it's not a good idea.
The developer, Huntley, says they would utilize low water technology. What water they would need may still need to come from the city, and residents want more details.
All we could find was on closed loop cooling systems is a pilot not proven effective.
Something else a data center would bring: revenue, and the city needs it. The city of Page has taken hits. The Navajo Generating Station and a related mine shut down in 2019, eliminating about 1,000 jobs. Tourism is down at the Glen Canyon and Lake Powell, with uncertainty about water levels at Lake Powell into the future. A city spokesperson says they would tax power the data center purchases, potentially bringing in $10 to $15 million a year. That's roughly the amount of the city's entire annual budget. The city says those funds could diversify the local economy and pay for wish list items residents have asked for, like a public pool, urban trail system, road upgrades, a bike trail from Glen Canyon Dam to Horseshoe Bend. The few people I spoke with in this tight-knit community of 8,000 who see value in the project declined to talk on camera. It's no doubt a sensitive subject around here. Critics also point out that unlike Lake Powell or the former power plant, data centers bring few long-term jobs. For now, the city is waiting for the developer to provide a site plan that would trigger more public hearings and technical reviews that must pass muster with city staff and council. The company says their biggest hurdle is ensuring they would have enough power to move forward, telling the city in a statement, "We are in direct engagement with relative utilities and transmission operators, but it is not yet resolved." In Page, Joe Dana, 12 News.
Coming up, a Scottsdale girls' weekend gone wrong after a knife was found in their Waymo. This may be Phoenix, but it feels a lot like Puerto Rico. You're not just listening to Bad Bunny, you're literally inside the music. This 360 experience inside the Dorrance Dome wraps the visuals all the way around you. Why was Bad Bunny the perfect artist for this kind of experience?
Bad Bunny is the world's biggest artist right now.
How do you take music and turn it into a 360 experience?
First step is selecting the music that you want to visualize. images, and that's a really hard step. Then from there, it's really imagining what visuals could accompany the music. We wanted to be able to create a show that honored the culture and people of Puerto Rico, because that's so near and dear to Bad Bunny, of course. We went all across the island of Puerto Rico, and we captured about 500 total images, 360-degree images of the island in 16K resolution. This was the largest library of 360-degree photography that's ever been assembled of Puerto Rico.
And you can only check it out right here in Arizona.
That's right. The Dorrance Dome is currently the only place in the world where you can see these photos on display in their full resolution, and you can experience our Bad Bunny show.
There's not a bad seat in the house, although I'm partial to these because they recline and you really get to experience the movement. It feels like I'm on a ride, but you may not want to sit too long. You may want to get up and dance. What do you hope people feel or experience when they're inside here?
I hope people feel like they're actually in Puerto Rico. The other thing that I just hope that they're able to enjoy the music of Bad Bunny in a really unique way. So if you're a fan of his music, I hope you're able to come here and get up and want to dance and experience the full spectrum of the music that he has to offer.
This one-of-a-kind experience is brought to you by 44 million LEDs and more than 900 panels that are as thin as paper. I feel like you can't just watch it once.
Yeah.
You'll miss so many things.
Yeah, we threw a lot into this show. For example, we used real Taíno cymbals in the first song of the show. There are a lot of really great references to Puerto Rico, both from a natural perspective, but also from the human perspective, that you're probably not going to catch it all in one viewing.
Now we're at the beach. It gives summer vibes even indoors. Check it out from May 16th through the summer. Go to DorranceDome.com.
Though every wildfire season brings worries, former Flagstaff Councilman Jim McCarthy says there are two reasons this season will keep him up at night: exceptionally dry fuels and a massive reorganization at the U.S. Forest Service.
My concern is, are we going to have the resources to fight these big fires when they do come?
Forest communities like Flagstaff rely on the federal government to be swift and organized if the unthinkable happens.
This is the chainsaw for bureaucracy.
When the Trump administration's DOGE team fulfilled a campaign promise to slash government jobs last year, thousands of forestry and wildfire-related positions were lost from cuts and early retirement. A new report about losses in the public lands workforce shows 6,500 fewer employees in these western states, 679 job losses in Arizona. The positions are related to conservation management, water resource planning, and wildfire management.
The reason we're doing this is ultimately to better serve the public.
Forestry Service Chief Tom Schultz defends the shakeup. It would include phasing out mid-level positions and closing many research stations and regional offices.
In the flattening of this organization, we expect to actually drive over time more resources, funding, and staff to the districts and to the forests.
The truth of the matter is they're cutting in places where it really does matter.
A recent nonprofit's analysis found the Forest Service completed 38% less wildfire mitigation work last year compared with previous seasons.
What do you make of the abrupt way this is all happening? Because some are certainly concerned.
I think the concern is valid, but there's an opportunity before us, and Chief Tom Schultz has been really adamant that he's going to get money and resources back to the ground.
Retired forester and district ranger Jim Paxson supports the Trump administration's aim to reduce bureaucracy and shift resources and power to district ranger stations.
Right now, the district ranger doesn't make very many decisions. The forest supervisor does. We need to get it back to the line officers.
Paxson says a potential benefit to shifting decision-making power to the local level is that logging and thinning projects like this one could move much quicker.
Then you can make plans and do whatever's needed. Thin timber, prescribed burns, improvements for grazing.
We haven't seen where this plan is going to increase staffing. In fact, may do the opposite.
The leaders of a retired forestry workers association say they aren't seeing new resources go to ranger stations.
Agency leadership have got to quit saying they're going to get more timber cut and they're going to get more fire response done, whatever it is. They think they're going to do more with fewer people. It simply doesn't work that way.
These members describe uncertainty, a lack of details from the Trump administration, and the likelihood that more experienced employees will leave.
6,500 current employees of the Forest Service have been given letters that their jobs may be abolished or they may be moved. We are very concerned.
5 current and recently retired forestry employees requesting not to be identified, tell me the Forest Service has lost valuable experience. One saying when they started laying people off or telling them if they didn't quit they would be fired, a lot of people left their careers early. Fire is just one thing we are worried about. Everything the Forest Service does is at risk. In Flagstaff, Joe Dana, 12 News.
First Waymo, let's go. Take a video of this.
Girls trip to Scottsdale for Bailey, JD, Maddie, and Audria.
None of us have ever been in a Waymo before, and we were headed to the grocery store to get a few snacks.
It's kind of a thing. You come to the valley, you ride the robot car.
All wants us to buckle our seatbelt. It's mad at Waymo.
And it kind of was like beeping at us to tell us to put our seatbelts on. And then that's when things kind of took a crazy turn.
Not because the car had no driver, that's normal. Crazy because of what they found in the back seat.
What the dude? There's an effing knife right here. Shut up. No, there's a knife right here. I just grabbed it with my hand. Wait, what?
And I put my hand down to grab the buckle, and I couldn't find the buckle, but I touched something really sharp, and it hurt my hand. And I looked again, and it was a knife.
I see. Holy
It was a kitchen knife.
Yeah, it was like a kitchen knife.
It was a weapon. It wasn't
like
just
6
a pocket
inches
knife.
or more, yeah.
This knife, sticking out of the back seat, blade toward passengers.
Yeah. Oh, she's lucky. She could have sat on it. She could have sliced her hand.
And the question became, now what? There's no driver to tell. The Waymo doesn't know there's a knife in the back seat, but they did.
We felt trapped. We couldn't tell a driver to pull us over, if we wanted to get out of the car. It was scary.
Waymo says its response teams talked to the women and made sure they were okay and not hurt. The spokesperson says weapons aren't allowed in the cars, and they say they're checking to see who was in the car before to try and identify the rider.
What the dude? There's an effing knife right here.
But I don't think any of us will ever get in a Waymo or an Uber or Lyft or taxi or anything without checking.
Holy
William Pitts, 12 News.
And thanks everyone for watching. And just a reminder that new episodes of 12 News in Focus premiere every Friday on the 12 News app. You can also watch past episodes. Download the 12 News app on your TV devices and you can watch for free. I'm Karima Devine. Have a fantastic rest of your weekend.